And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. I am Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live. We are talking about the used car marketplace meltdown. Yes, that's right. You heard it. There are crazy things going on in the used car market right now that we're going to bring to your attention. But before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors, iAutoAgent.com. At iAutoAgent acts as real estate agents for people's cars. They take care of selling the vehicle for you at no cost. They will find that vehicle for you, and they work with fleets. So if you're a business owner that has a fleet of vehicle, you shouldn't be managing it yourself. iAutoAgent will help you with that. They have a done-for-you fleet management program where they take care of the buying of the fleet vehicles, maintaining them at your place of business so you're not using prime time hours, and they will sell them for maximum profit. And also, if you are looking at an extended warranty, please go to the autoauthorities.com with your VIN and miles, and we will see if you qualify for a extended warranty. And then we have Gerald Bentley right here. He is with Wrestling Spotlight, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, 24/7 source for professional wrestling. It's available on a lot of your major streaming TV platforms. We're on the same platform as you can watch this show on Biz TV Plus and Shop TV Plus. Have local promotions from around the country. We actually had a match from St. Louis on this week from Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. They have the archives of wrestling at the Chase Hotel in St. Louis.
Remember that?
Yeah, and in the match that you could have watched on Wrestling Spotlight this week, it was the Nature Boy himself, Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Ric Flair on the screen on Wrestling Spotlight. And then we also do breakdowns of, I was at WrestleMania. We covered WrestleMania live. I was in St. Louis. We covered AEW Dynasty live. Have a panel show with experts and reporters from around the country breaking down the news of pro wrestling in the week. So lots of great content. Love to have people check it out.
Yeah, and speaking of checking out, if you want to watch us live on Tuesdays at 12 p.m., LinkedIn and the Facebook group page, The Auto Authorities, you can go to theautoauthorities.com and watch. Like, we have 19 different channels that we're on. You can watch iTunes or listen to iTunes, Pandora, Google Podcasts. I mean, there's a million of them out there. But please subscribe to our YouTube page. We'd love your support. Let's go right into this, man. I mean, like, I want to talk about, CarMax. They're struggling right now, and one of the reasons why I think that they're struggling, and you're going to see prices coming down on a lot of vehicles, not all, but because there's a lot of new vehicles out there right now, and we've been talking about this, the incentives on new are starting to push people more towards new vehicles because the prices have been so high on used
Absolutely.
vehicles. And now I think the swing's coming back to new. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's definitely something you're seeing, and you're noticing it a lot because you have a couple of trends that are colliding right now. Customers, buyers haven't been turning in that traditional 35,
Yeah.
45, 50,000 mile used car that a dealership like the one in the picture behind me would take, certify, and sell for 4 or 5 thousand off a new car, and here you go, you got certified warranty, it's like new, here you are. Those cars aren't there because people are keeping the cars or they're giving them to relatives. They're just not getting traded in. And the other thing dealerships aren't able to do is the old same payment close. Hey, Jay, our manager was looking and he saw that there's a customer that's looking for a car just like yours, and we can get you the new version. We'll keep your payment exactly the same. How does that sound? Well, you can't do that right now because Jay got his car at 2% interest. Now it's 6% interest. The
Yep.
price has gone up $6,000.
Yep.
Jay's not excited about doing that for $120 more a month. He's going to keep his car.
That's
So
right.
what's happened is dealerships have gotten their inventory really skewed towards expensive used cars. And if you're on an expensive used car, a $38,000, $39,000 used car, with the average, and this number is utterly insane, the average used car interest rate last month in the U.S. was 14%. $38,000 at 14% is not an affordable payment, and it's basically the same payment as 50,000 at 6%.
Well, what's
So
happening
people are
right?
going to buy the 50.
That's exactly right. And people it's the same thing as what's going on in the house market, right? So all these people have these really, really low interest rates and they have their homes. Why are they going to sell their home? There has to be a pressing issue for somebody to sell their home right now. So it's the same thing as a
Hmm.
car. What is the pressing issue? If it's not a pressing issue, just like Gerald said, they're buying these vehicles. They can they're not going to go into another vehicle. Why would they? Like, why would they get rid of their low interest rates? So, like we talked about in a previous episode, I think EVs are taking over the world, and this new affordable car that everybody wants, it's going to be an electric vehicle. I mean, and they're new, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the market's going to create it, right? The market's going to create opportunity because car companies aren't a business to lose, and they see themselves losing that initial customer.
Mhm.
They're going to do something. And it's happening. We're seeing numbers all over the place. Car dealership guy on X shared a number from a study that 63% of the American public is unable to buy a new car right now based on typical budget, saying it's 20% of your income. 20% of your income at the average price of a new car, the average interest rate, it eliminates 60% of the American public because the average new car payment right now is like $760. So everyone who's making 40,000 and under, you're out. Somebody is going to find that market. It's going to be there. And right now it's not in used cars because here, we worked at dealerships for years and years and years. How many times did we hear, well, it takes 90 days on average to sell a nice car? Okay, fair. Yeah, all right. I can see it takes a while. You need somebody to see it. You need the lead, blah, blah, blah. Well, used car dealerships right now, on average, only have a 49-day supply of cars. So there's just not enough cars. So
That's
something has
true.
to break.
That's true. But one of the things I've noticed, and as everybody knows at iAuto Agent, we're a real estate agent for cars. When you want to sell your car, we're going to get you more money than the dealer. So what we do is we shop around the dealers, including CarMax, and we had a 2015 BMW 650i convertible that just came through with only 68,000 miles on it.
Hmm.
CarMax valued this vehicle at $16,400. We valued the car at $23,000. It's going to wind up selling in the upper 20s. Like, that is insane. And in my opinion, I feel like that they're bracing for this used car collapse as people are swinging to the newer vehicles because they're, like you said, they're going to make sure that people buy new vehicles somehow, some way. If they're not buying them, they'll just keep throwing incentives on it. And
Yep.
now that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and CarMax, I think we've been seeing it for a while. They're either looking for a niche vehicle, which they'll bid through the roof, or they're looking to go cheaper. They want one or the other because right now, if your used car is $35,000 or over, those cars are knocking on the door of a 100-day supply, which is
Mhm.
bad.
Yep.
If you're under 10,000, you're under 30-day supply, which means they're flying. So that in between mark, if it's not a car that they're excited about selling, they're not going to bid it aggressively because they
Well,
want to get cheaper.
yeah.
They
And
want to get closer to the 10 and away from the 35.
they're probably not even going to sell that car. Most likely, they'll probably just take it to their auction. And a lot of people don't realize when CarMax buys a vehicle, that doesn't mean that they're going to sell it on the retail market. They do a ton of business on the wholesale market, and they
Hmm.
have their own auctions. And so people buy at those auctions too. So yeah, and truly, like we always talk about this, if it's a Toyota, that's a very, very desirable vehicle, and
Yeah,
people want them, and you can't get them. I mean, what's the supply on a new Toyota right now?
less than 30 days. And
Yeah.
that's counting shipping time. Toyota counts the amount of time the vehicle's in freight as well. So some cars, it's a negative day supply.
Yeah. Uh, it's just interesting. There's a lot of different variables here. Like you said, you've got these leases that pretty much were non-existent for a while. And now, and it's going to get worse too, because leasing used to be awesome and now it's not so awesome. And the supply is going to keep going down and down and down, which is going to be very interesting to see what happens, because does that mean the new cars are going to keep throwing more incentives on the new and driving people to those new side? Or is it going to be people are like, man, I want a used car really, really bad. And I want to go to, because if it becomes too much of a swing, because in the pandemic days, a used car was more than a new car.
Yeah.
But boys, as much as that gap widens, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think it's going to go to new, and I think it's going to make the used car market go down, even though there will be shortage of used vehicles. I think that we're going to see that, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, no, you are, because here, the the model that most dealerships are using to hit profitability has flipped, because it used to be new cars, you sell them to get the units, make whatever you can in finance and move on, and you make your money in used. Now, over the last couple of years, the average new car dealership is making about $1,800 per car front gross, whereas they
Mm,
were making like 200, and the average used car, they're only making a couple hundred. They're pushing it down the road and moving on. So it's done a 180.
mm,
And I think you're going to see more of that, because if you want to make up for an inventory shortfall and you want to move units, the lease is the way to do it, because the manufacturer, through their captive financing arm, utterly controls it. They're the ones who set the future value. On a lease, you're only paying for the portion of the car's value that the manufacturer says it's going to lose in that 3-year period.
mm,
Well, it's their guess. They can set the number to whatever they want. So if you really want to incentivize a car, just keep the residual up high, and you can kick whatever future losses there are 3 years down the road, and you can stagger it out. When you see manufacturers go from advertising a 36-month lease to a 39-month lease to a 42-month lease, the reason they're doing that is because they want to stagger the amount of cars that are going to come back into the system, so they're not overwhelmed and their dealers take them back and sell them as certified pre-owned.
mm,
It's a way to increase incentives without adding loss to the bottom line, because you're not really losing. You're just saying, yeah, we think it's going to be worth 45,000 in 3 years instead of 38.
mhm,
Sounds good. Kick it down the road. So you really just gave the car an extra $7,000 of incentive, but it doesn't show up anywhere. It's not a loss. It's down the road. It's 3 years down the road. You can worry about it later.
yeah,
So
good.
you're going to start seeing more and more aggressive leases, because that's a way to drive incentives through the roof without actually adding any cost. And it's 100% in control of the manufacturer. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because there's really nobody has a crystal ball or anything, but I think the writing is on the wall, is that the used car market's going to come down, and you're going to see a lot more new vehicle. I think that it's going to be pretty awesome for new car dealerships. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it, that actually have EVs, because I think EVs is what people are going to. And I've never been a proponent of an EV, and that, but man, the more I keep seeing these deals, I'm like, it's getting close for our family to start adopting that. And I'm seeing
Yeah.
temp bags everywhere where I live of
Hmm.
EVs being bought everywhere.
Well, yeah, and you're going to have to see new cars spike, because It's just reality. It's math. We went during the COVID era, a period of time where we sold 8 million less cars than we would have historically. You want to know where the affordable used cars are on the lots? Well, they don't exist. They were those 8 million cars that weren't sold. So it's going to take a while to fill that up. So honestly, the manufacturers can probably make the lease residuals whatever they want them to be, and they're going to be fine because they need to pump units out. We're just up to even. Right now, we're up to even with where we were pre-COVID in terms of new car units. We're not doing anything to make up that gap. And it's going to take a little while to adjust. The dealerships that are going to feel the brunt, and then, well, kind of running up out of time here, but we'll have to get to this on the next episode. But the dealerships that are going to feel the brunt of the problem are your independent used car dealers and your buy here, pay here used car dealers, because there's not a buy here, pay here dealership in America that can make it go on $24,000 used cars.
No.
So,
and it's probably best anyway, because those places, they're not, they're taking advantage of people. So that's the challenge, I mean, and some people have no choice, but as we talked to our financial coach previously, there are choices. You just have to want to help yourself. Anything else that you want to share, Gerald?
No, good to go.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Please comment below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, go on Biz TV Plus and Shop TV Plus. See us on TV, on your smart TV, and we will see you next week. Peace.